With Lululemon, the real gift happens when they're living in it. When you give the fan favorite everywhere belt bag, the real gift is... And when the ultra-soothing Rest Feel slides are the gift, you're really giving them... This holiday, Lululemon makes it easy to give little luxuries that go beyond. Open the moment. Shop now at Lululemon.com.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means? It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Amazon for all your gifting needs.
It's the Larry Kudlow Show. Free market prosperity starts here. Now, here's Larry Kudlow.
Welcome back, folks. So, really, as I mentioned at the top of the show in the first hour, after 1 month of Donald Trump, right, he won November 5th. Today's December 7th, if I got that right. It's been about a month. You can sort of see and feel a resurgence coming on. People are happier and more confident. And, in fact, as many have pointed out, consumer confidence going up, small business confidence going up. Somebody who's monitoring this very carefully is my pal John Carney. He's the Breitbart economics editor and co-author of the daily Breitbart Business Digest, which is an absolute must-read. John, welcome. You've tracked this. These confidence surveys, I think we just got another one yesterday, all of a sudden are picking up, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's got something to do with Donald Trump's landslide victory.
That's absolutely right, Larry. If you look at the numbers, it's really clear that when it became apparent to people that Donald Trump was likely to win, we actually started to see, even before the election, a move up in the consumer confidence and the business confidence numbers. Now, after the election, there has been a huge jump. Remember that, but you know this, back when you were in the White House, consumer confidence numbers were really great. We were, right before we hit the pandemic. And actually, maybe surprisingly, even during the pandemic, consumer confidence numbers were better than they have been under Biden. So what we're seeing now is a relief rally as people who may have worried that we were going to be stuck with 4 years of Harris, a continuation and probably worsening of the Biden economy, that's over. We're now going to get to move on to as Donald Trump has put it, a new golden age. And that's showing up in all of these surveys.
So there's that. Yesterday's jobs numbers, 227,000 non-farm payrolls. Half of it was government, or as you call it, government-adjacent healthcare and social assistance. 72,000, government direct 35. I mean, over 100,000 was government-related. And the other side is the household employment, though, dropped again. Down 355,000 last month, down 368,000. Civilian labor force is shrinking. The unemployment rate edged up. What do you make of it, John Carney?
I think it's one thing. I think it's very troubling that we need to do a deep dive, and Donald Trump should do this. We need really good data about the economy. The response rates on all of these surveys are way down, which really raises the question of the quality of the numbers we see. This also comes up when we see these giant revisions that are recurring over and over again, whether they're upside or downside. They shouldn't be as large as they are. We really need to figure out what's gone wrong with the way we're collecting data. And look, maybe it's partly a technology issue that they need to update the way that they collect the data. I'm not a big fan of more government spending, but I would put a little bit more money into the collection of good government data, because without a reliable read on something as basic as employment, I think we're sort of in the dark about how the economy is doing, and it's very bad. I mean, even Wall Street analysts now sort of look askance at all of these jobs reports and say, well, we got to really wait till the first or second revision before we actually know what's going on. That's a very big delay. That means, the data comes out about, a few days after the month ends. That should be enough for us. But instead, now we have to wait 3 months till we actually understand what happened in any given month.
They're as bad as pollsters.
They are. And it's not clear how to correct for them. I think that we should, getting better data. And actually, I think somebody like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I know they already have a lot on their plate as the Doge brothers.
Yeah.
But they're really smart guys. Figuring out how to correct for the deterioration of the quality of data that we're getting from these surveys would be really a great thing for them to take on. Once they've gotten rid of all the government waste and once they've gotten rid of the lack of efficiency, this would be a good task for them to take on as well.
You think the Doge brothers can dance as well as the Blues brothers?
Elon Musk looks like, with
could.
a little bit of training, he could be a good dancer.
I know. If Trump can do it, he can do it. Your other piece that's important is the Fed should take a long winter's nap.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Tell us
That's
about
right.
it. You don't want to see it, right? I mean, all these inflation numbers, not all of them, but many of them, the core inflation rates, core CPI, core PCE, median CPI, stuff's all above their 2% target. And really, households, consumers are still suffering from about a 22% increase in general prices over the past nearly 4 years. I mean, I don't know. What's the Fed's rush here?
Yeah, the Fed should not be in a hurry to cut interest rates. I think they sort of made a pretty huge mistake by doing the 50 basis point cut in September. They followed that up in November with another cut. They almost have to cut now, in part because they don't want to shock markets by saying, "Oh, it turns out we were wrong. We're not cutting." They view that as something that would damage their credibility. So they're probably going to cut again. They shouldn't. They should. I think what they will do, at least if cooler heads prevail at the Fed, they will communicate to the market over the next couple weeks and at the meeting that they are not going to cut again. Inflation has the progress has not only stalled out, it's started to go in the wrong direction. And when you see a lot of these various surveys of consumers, like the Consumer Sentiment Survey, rising, that's a recipe for more spending. With this latest Consumer Sentiment Survey that we got out on Friday, said a lot of people think now is a good time to purchase durable goods. So that is potentially inflationary if supply doesn't keep up with it. And so I think that they should sit back, wait, and make sure that inflation is going in the right direction and not say, well, they keep insisting that right now interest rates are restrictive. But it's really hard to see that in numbers. As you said, look, there's a lot of government jobs in the jobs data, so it might not be quite as good as it looks. But on the other side of it, consumer spending is very, very good. You're starting to see a resurgence of business spending. We're going to get as long as the Republican Senate doesn't mess this up, we will get tax cuts. And so the Fed should take a step back and say, we don't need to be cutting now. There's no emergency reason to cut. Let's wait and see what happens in the economy.
I'm just looking at these. So GDP now is 3.3% for the fourth quarter, Atlanta Fed's GDP. So that's way above the Fed's own target. I mean, I'm not against the growth. I'm just saying it's above their target. The PCE deflator, the core PCE is 2.8% year on year. The Fed's target is 2%, as you know. The core CPI is 3.3 versus the target of 2. the Cleveland Fed's median CPI, which you kind of taught me, 4.1, actually. The Fed's target is 2. I mean, I just, prices may be rising at a slower pace, but they're still rising above target. And the point is middle-income people, blue-collar people, working-class people, they've had this price shock. It's like prices never come down. And I think the Fed should hold its fire. And prices will come down if you get good tax cuts. People produce more goods, or you get more energy online. That'll bring down prices down.
Right. What we really want to do is see, I think prices, we're probably stuck at a higher price level. Prices aren't going to come down. But what we could do is if we have, again, the Fed already has this framework in their minds, and I don't know why they seem to abandon it on the upside. But when you've had inflation overshoot for a long time, you should undershoot for a little while.
Right.
Because then over time, yes, we had 22% inflation. But if you have 1% inflation for a few years, then you will eventually hit the trend line again, and you'll be back on target, and people will not feel as bad about it. If you keep growing prices at 2.8%, that means not only are we living with the very high prices that we got under Biden, but prices will never return to a normal level. Right. And that's problematic for the American consumer. It's problematic for American businesses. And frankly, I think it would be problematic for any administration. What Donald Trump needs, frankly, is for the Fed to actually hold the line. Yeah. He should not be hoping for a loose monetary policy that possibly reignites inflation.
All right, John Carney, Breitbart economics editor and co-author of the Breitbart Business Digest. Folks, Breitbart Business Digest comes out every day. It's a must-read. Got to do it. Thanks, John. Quick break here. Senator Rick Scott on the other side. We're going to talk about the Doge brothers and what they're going to do to shrink the size and scope of government.
This is the Larry Kudlow Show.